All right, good morning one and all. We're doing something a little different. When I started this channel many years ago, my whole goal with this channel was to help you guys overcome the learning curve that I had to do when I was doing. I want you guys to meet Gavin. How are you, Gavin?
I'm doing well.
When I started this channel, Gavin, my whole goal was to help guys streamline their business. Just, you know, I used to hang on the sides of dump truck windows trying to figure out how to drive a dump truck, how to run a business. I was talking to anybody and everybody that would even talk to me. So when I started the channel, it was like, all right, let's just help these guys cut through all of that BS, because maybe they don't want to hang off the side of a dump truck. Right. Maybe they don't want to ask stupid questions and look, you know, and not know what they're going to be getting. Maybe they don't want to take the risk that an entrepreneur has to take. Now, you're 17, right?
Yep.
And you're starting out your own business.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm in the process of building one right now. So I'm just trying to learn anything and everything.
Come on into the yard. Gavin reached out to me and asked me if he could take me out to lunch sometime, and I'll tell you, if every time I accepted a lunch offer from somebody, I'd weigh about 450 pounds and I'd have lunch from now till 2030. I can't do that, so I'm gonna make a video. And I told you, you got 5 questions.
Yep.
Ask your 5 questions. I'm gonna give you my 5 best answers, and if we get more than 5, I don't care. I just wanna keep this as streamlined as possible. I want these people to have access to this information, so we're all going to learn at once.
Right.
The first thing I'm going to show you guys around, to give you a little tour. This is the yard, and it's not fancy. You don't need a freaking $120,000 pole barn to start a business, Gavin. You do not need it. I don't even own this yard. I rent this yard. I used to own a yard. I used to own 8 acres of land. I used to have my own shop. I used to have all of it, but the overhead, in comparison to the return on the initial investment, didn't net enough profit to make it lucrative to keep going with that. So don't think that you gotta own a ton. You don't need land, you don't need a shop, you can rent it. When I first started, when I was your age, Gavin, I ran out of my driveway in my parents' house. I would park my dump truck. I had a dump truck just like that. And I had bought 2 of them, so I had 2 dump trucks exactly like that, except they weren't that good looking. They were horrible looking, parked in my dad's driveway.
Yeah. Hey, you made it work, right?
You gotta make it work. And when you start, your hours are going to be off the charts. But here's the thing, you're young, you've got a lot more energy than I've got, you've got potential. Don't work 9 to 5. Don't work for somebody else. This is your opportunity to take it, because right now in your life, you have the chance to take as much risk without losing anything. When you get to be my age, you have a house, you have kids, you've got grandkids, you've got people depending on you. You can't continue to take those risks as easily as you can right now. This is the golden era for you. So do it. And I've seen the most successful young entrepreneurs just willing to take that risk and work the hours. And it's the greater the risk, the greater the reward. Okay? So if you're gonna go into this business thinking, well, I'm gonna start out safe and secure and I'm gonna make tall grass short, you're gonna be like every other Tom, Dick, and Harry out there that wants to do the same thing. Meaning, you're fighting a fight of the lowest possible net return. Okay? Because you're competing against anybody that can throw a lawnmower in the back of a trailer. Learn just some basic skills of hardscaping, construction. I don't care if it's interior remodeling, if it's framing, carpentry, plumbing. It doesn't make a difference. Gavin, learn something that will separate you from the crowd even a little bit. And then refine that skill. Learn to market that skill and take that to the next level. And he hasn't even asked a question yet. All right.
I'm listening. I love the information already.
Well, I know you got questions, and I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna ask you to ask your first question. But there's stuff that if you don't ask me, I want you to know. If I could tell my own son, if I could tell myself 25, 30 years ago what I would do different, this is exactly what I would do. So go ahead. What do you got for a question for me?
Well, we have a handful, right? As you know. First one is, if you had to start all over, what would you do and not do? you know, would you jump straight into the landscaping or
Yes.
stay all into lawn care?
No, I would not do lawn care at all.
Okay.
I feel lawn care is a complete waste.
Mhm.
All right? No offense to you guys. I've never met a lawn care millionaire that just makes tall grass short. You
Okay.
ask Jonathan Potashnik, one of the greatest minds in the lawn care industry.
Yeah.
His profits are in all of the accessory services that he does. Those net the highest profits.
Yeah.
Lawn care gets the foot in the door, and that's okay.
Mhm.
But there's a lot of fake YouTubers out there that are claiming that they're making money off from lawn care, and they're not.
Right.
They're not. They're
Yeah.
making their money off from other things that they're doing,
Mhm.
not off from making tall grass short. So when you watch people on social media, you got to watch between the lines. You got to be extremely careful of where your information is coming and who you're listening to and how they actually made their living. Corey Ballard is another great one.
Mhm.
He actually made a really good living making tall grass short, but that's not what he does now. He still owns that company,
Yeah.
but now he sells products and he does other things. So all of these guys use that toe in the door to migrate into something else.
Mhm.
So why even jump into a pool that's filled with other people?
Right.
If you're
right.
going to jump into a pool that has less competition.
Mm.
That's where you start to go out and you get those skills. So the most lucrative one that I've ever seen is ponds,
Mhm.
right?
Wow. Didn't know that.
Ponds, yes, because people are afraid of water because water can leak,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
But there's a company called Aquascape that they do a training thing every year, and I go to it every single freaking year. Not because I need to know how to install a pond, because I've been installing ponds for a long time.
Right. Right.
But their business education is above and beyond anything I've ever seen anywhere else,
Yeah.
hands down. I used to do a course, Steel Toe, it's now called Steel Toe University. It was Dirt Monkey
Okay.
University. And me and Phil and Callie, we put out some amazing information.
Mhm.
And the only other place that I've ever seen that information given out as freely and cheaply as we were doing it was at Aquascape.
Oh, really?
Now, I don't do this with Phil and Callie anymore. I think they're still doing their thing, Steel Toe University, and if it is, great. If they are, I would recommend checking them out. It was cheap. It was good stuff. But Aquascape is the best that I've ever seen. In fact, I was a little jealous of Greg Whitstock, the pond guy, because I'm like, son of a bitch, you're giving this information away for free, and I'm trying to charge people $20 a month.
Right.
for
Yeah. He's
it.
already ahead of you right there.
I know. And he was ahead of me, and he still is ahead of me. And he runs a $60 million a year business.
Yeah.
Find a niche. So here's where we're going to sum this first question up. What would I do different? I would find a niche. I would grow as super strong inside of that niche as I possibly can.
Yeah.
Become the jack of all trades and master of two.
Mhm.
Okay? This is an important thing because when you're the jack of all trades, master of two, what you're going to do is you're going to take a micro niche and a macro niche.
Mhm.
Okay? The micro niche is going to be easy for you to dominate real fast. For
Yeah.
me, it was a pool demolition,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
And I would demo swimming pools, and I picked them very strategically. Now let's go set this down because my arm is getting sore. I would pick these very strategically, Gavin, simply because I wanted something I could dominate quickly and easily, and then something that would make my phone ring a little more often.
Right. Right.
Okay, so with swimming pool demolition, let's see if I can get this to stick. Probably can right here. All right.
The sun's getting us here.
All right, so let's actually go over here. All right, so that way we do need this on. With swimming pool demolition, I picked that strategically because I love destroying things, right? It was a
Yep.
stress reliever.
Mhm.
But versus like a house demolition, let's come in a little closer so these guys can see us and hear us. With a house demolition, I started to do that. Every time I knock a house down, I have to worry about it falling on another house. I'd have to worry about it hitting something else, but a swimming pool's already underground.
Yeah.
And in Minnesota, we don't have a lot of swimming pools. Easy to dominate that. Only 2 people competing against me doing that.
Yeah.
So it was fast and easy for me to do. My second niche was retaining walls.
Mhm.
And I picked that because you can install a retaining wall. The next
Right.
guy's installing a retaining wall. So that was a lot harder for me to dominate that.
Mhm.
But I did. I wanted to become the #1 in retain, and I was in the entire Midwest. I was the number 1 out of 5 contractors installing massive retaining walls in the entire Midwest. It was me and 5 other guys. We would be called to do Walmart. We would be called to do the big Toll Brothers developments. I mean, I did a one retaining wall, 30 foot tall, 2,000 feet long, half a $1,000,000 in one housing project alone. And you weren't going to compete against me in that. Right?
Yeah.
Because I had dominated that industry so much that there was no more competition. People would go, well, my God, who's going to install a 30-foot tall retaining wall for me? Well, I'm not going to have you do it.
Yeah.
Because maybe you know how to do it, but you're not confident enough to do it.
Right,
and the next guy's not going to do it. And so when you start to dominate so thoroughly and epically, your competition, even though it's a very tight market, I mean, it's a very crowded market, becomes less and less and less because you now step up above and beyond everybody else.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
to
it
you?
makes complete sense. That is changing my game. Like I was thinking about lawn care and stuff, but now that you're explaining this, I'm like, lawn care, everyone does lawn care.
Yes.
I like where you're going with this. You got to find the niche that you can perform that particular industry.
That is so well. Okay, and here's the other thing. Do not, if you're average or mediocre at something, don't